All right, you wouldn't fucking believe it, but I've actually tried to record this about 13 times and I just kept getting tongue-tied and just wasn't really working out. Had my notes, had everything, but whatever. So, what we're doing instead is I'm ditching my notes and I'm sitting on the couch and we're just going to have a really serious chat. Okay. Now, this is probably going to go longer than anticipated, considering I'm not going off any notes now, but it's going to be from the heart and it might be challenging for some of you to listen to hear. Some of you might turn it off and think this isn't important, but I'm here to tell you if you have received this audio, it's because you need to fucking know this shit. Okay. Now, in my everyday world, the trading world, the finance world, the business world, right? I'm privileged to be around people who are way smarter than me, way wealthier than me, and people who are just in the know, right? In the know about topics that most people would have no idea about, let alone where to start looking, or just topics that most people find generally challenging and overwhelming. Okay. Now, I believe the world is changing in really big ways that hasn't happened before in our lifetimes, but have happened many times before in history. So because of that, I've been studying, okay? I've been studying the past to understand what is happening now, to also help me to anticipate what is likely to happen in the future. So some of you have been with me for a really long time. Okay, some of you have been with me for like a decade. So long, whether that's trading, business, coaching, maybe you're in Rebel with Wealth, whatever it is. Some of you have seen me posting about the Rebel Alliance, which is, I guess, now what Rebel with Wealth 2 was meant to be. Okay, Rebel with Wealth 2 was meant to be a mastermind, an advanced version of Rebel 1. But for some reason, I just couldn't get on board with the idea of it. Okay, I had everything mapped out, ready to go. It was launched, people had bought. Okay. And something just felt really out of integrity. And so much so that I actually refunded $35,000 worth of payments to people that had purchased because something just wasn't sitting right with me. Okay. And one thing I knew I had to do with Rebel was to take our trading conversations and make it accessible to those who don't trade and just those who just have no real interest in trading, but know the importance of understanding our system that we live in and where we're headed and how they can, you know, learn to benefit and maximize this. Okay. So I've spent over a decade studying our system, the financial system, the education system, the system we're all born and raised in. Some people question it, some people follow it blindly. And yeah, I'm going to assume that if you are in my space or you're listening to this, you're the first person, you're starting to question a couple of things. Now, I'm a trader, I'm a financial coach. I've worked with thousands of people. Okay. One thing I know to be true with that is money seems complicated and it's marketed that way to keep you confused. And while I'm not going to spend this audio talking about the history of all of that, that's for another fucking time. What I will start with is this. To succeed financially, to get ahead, to build successful businesses, to understand investing. Okay, investing is essentially preparation for the future. So to understand that, you actually have to understand that it's essential to understand the economic system that we operate in. And many people, they want that they aim to make money without actually grasping how the system works. You know, the concept of money and how our monetary system works is not very well understood. And understanding the current monetary system is actually key to discussing its improvements. Okay. And in a future explanation in the Rebel Alliance, I'm going to break that down, how it works, its origins, its flaws, potential fixes. Okay. But for now, just know that this knowledge is essential for a meaningful conversation. Okay. All you have to know for this audio is this, like the creation and the supply of money is now left and almost entirely to banks and other lending institutions, right? Most people imagine that if they borrow from a bank, they are borrowing other people's money, when in fact, when banks and building societies, whatever else, whenever they make a loan, okay, they create new money, right? Money loaned by a bank is not a loan of pre-existent money. Money loaned by a bank is additional money created, okay? So the stream of money generated by people, by businesses, by governments constantly borrowing from banks and other lending institutions is relied upon to supply the economy. Okay. Therefore, the supply of money depends upon people going into debt, right? And the level of debt within an economy is no more than a measure of the amount of money that is being created. So, what the fuck does that mean? Okay, it means that today's financial matrix relies upon millions and millions of people voluntarily selling themselves into financial slavery. Okay, central banks have this long and complex history that's, it's quite often it's often obscured by a jargon, a web of jargon, right? All this lingo, all these fucking technicalities, right? From the Bank of England's establishment in the 1690s, right, to the creation of the Federal Reserve System in 1913, right? Central banks, each country's got one, right, has been tasked with managing a nation's currency, monetary policy, and financial stability. However, guys, over time, this is where it gets icky, right? Over time, these institutions have become increasingly intertwined with the interests of the elites, right? Using policies like bailouts and quantitative easing to keep the wealthy in power while leaving the rest of the population struggling to keep up. I fully understand that some of the words I just said there, quantitative easing, elites, policies, bailouts, whatever it is, whatever word I said, probably went in one ear and out the other. But this is why you're here, right? This is why you're listening to this right now, because it's important. It's information that you should fucking know, right? We are told that the major problem in addressing society's environmental, social, and economic problems is lack of money, right? That is irrational, since money can, in principle, be made at will, right? So the lack of it should never be an obstacle, should never be an obstacle. Yet this is what they say it is. Okay. All things considered, it is strange that we do not address such important problems due to a lack of money, because as I just said, it can be created at will. Most money is electronic. It does not even physically exist. Tangible money, right? Coins, banknotes, they only form 2 to 3% of the total money supply. The remaining 97, it goes under various names: deposit money, bank money, electronic money. Okay. It exists only in the memory banks of computers, and yet we can create as much as we need. All it takes is a few little strokes on the right keyboard. Okay. Once again, another time I'll get into the implications of this, right? But it's in analyzing the current monetary system and its alternatives, we should actually let go of the ingrained ideas that society puts upon us, right? Especially that the assumption that money is scarce, right? This assumption has taken hold under the influence of mainstream economics. Okay, economists have, economists and other financial experts believe the amount of money is limited and that society will have to live within the limitations imposed by that scarcity. Okay, so if indeed there is scarcity, a lack of money, right, it is self-imposed, since, as I've mentioned, money can be printed, it can be created at will. So with that, then, there is actually not a limitation of money. There is only limitation in the products you buy with it. Okay. And I know you're all feeling the pinch. I know you're all feeling the cost of living. And I hate to tell you, it's not going to get any fucking better, which means you have the option to think outside the box. Okay. Something I was fortunate to learn from my dad was two really supporting money beliefs that I've always operated from. Okay. Money is made round to go round and flat to stack. The second one is there's no shortage of money. Okay. If you want more money, just go make more money. In fact, in 2020, 2019, 2020, we all remember those years, right? Just recently, shit hit the fucking fan. They printed over $9 trillion. Okay. There's no fucking shortage. Yet we are ruled by this thing, these plastic notes, these metal fucking coins, these plastic cards, these fake numbers on a screen cause us so much fucking grief. One thing I also know to be true is people are starting to wake up. They're realizing something fishy is going on, but very few have any clue as to what it is, let alone how to fix it, right? Our society is facing huge environmental and social problems that threaten the welfare of billions of people now and in the fucking future, right? But the main reason these problems are not addressed on the required scale is lack of money. It's so fucking interesting to me, right? So the question is, how is it that lack of money, the only resource that can be created at will, forms the main obstacle for addressing society's fucking problems? The second question is, what can we then do about it? This is where the Rebel Alliance comes into the conversation, and I'll explain more about this soon. But I have built communities around the world from speaking up about things that people should but aren't. Okay, I'm a person who lives through my values. I build businesses through my values. And from that, I found my tribe. Okay. We live in a structured society surrounded by systems like governments, education, healthcare, and they are all designed to keep order and ensure a basic standard of living. Okay. These systems, they set rules, they set limits for everyone in developed countries. Okay. But have you ever wondered why these systems exist? Right? They are meant to guide us. And that's a good thing because a lot of people can actually act really fucking irrationally and go a bit crazy. Okay, this is the reason for governments, for laws, for incarceration, jails, things like that. Okay, but life often feels a little bit harder for many because when it comes to money, right? Managing money isn't the same as growing it. It's not the same as compounding it and ultimately putting it to work for you, right? So, a really big part of the struggle that most people face comes from not learning about investing in school, not learning about business, right? Which is why it's so hard for people to keep and build their wealth. Now, if you're a fully functioning fucking adult, that is now your responsibility. We can no longer play victim to what school did, what our parents did. I don't know this, I don't know that. How can you fucking find out, right? You are responsible. Stop being a victim to shit that you don't need to be a victim to, right? But one thing I know with our system, especially our education system, think about it. It operates on the assumption that people need to be standardized. Okay. It doesn't adapt to the unique needs of each individual student, but rather imposes this uniform level of learning. Okay. The students who require extra support or maybe even a different learning method, these are the guys that fall behind. Okay. Even those that could learn or do learn more quickly, right? They often lose out too because they're not in a system where they can fully utilize their abilities. And don't misunderstand me, I am not against education. I have earned many qualifications through this education system, and I wouldn't be who I am without it. But I also believe it's not the only path to success. Okay, I want you to think about this. There's a guy, one of the elites called Rockefeller, and you can go Google this in your own time. The guy who created the education system, he said this: I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. Like, pause that and go fucking reflect on that for a second. Okay. What that says is our system has a really nice little factory in place. Okay. We raise kids, we put them in school where they can learn just enough to get an average job so they can live comfortably enough. Okay. Some go to uni, some get a trade, right? Then they go on to work an average job that can be described as maintenance of the system. And just look at any average and look at the job that any average human occupies, and you'll see what I mean. We live in a society that breeds individuals to be average. Why is that? Because they want average. And I say, fuck average. Okay. If we expect people to be average, then that is exactly what they will be. Now, I could only imagine how many people could have gone on to do so many great things for their lives, for their families, for their country, for the fucking planet, but never got the chance to because they were a part of a system that has taught them that average is the goal. This is why we have so many weak men. This is why we have so many fucking toxic women, as well. Like that's a whole other fucking conversation, but the system creates this. Now, obviously not everyone ends up average. Some do excel. But the system we have in place kills more innovation than it produces, right? It's ridiculously flawed. It is so inefficient. But how is it that some people manage to be the rebels, the outliers? They seem to have the world by the fucking balls. I'll tell you. Okay. They accept the system for what it is, and they choose to not work from within it. They choose to look from the outside, and they manipulate the system in a way that can serve them the best. Let's call this thinking outside the box, shall we? Okay. We live in an era that is dominated by information and technology, where access to knowledge and tools have never been more abundant. Yet I find it really fucking interesting that so many people are conducting their lives as if we're still in the 90s pre-internet, right? Pre-smartphones. They're just seemingly unaware, or they're uninterested in leveraging the resources that we have at our fingertips. Okay. So the reality is that maintaining a traditional job or a traditional career path, it doesn't preclude the possibility of innovating or creating something new on the side. Okay. In today's world, there's no reason to limit yourself. There's no reason to limit yourself to one single source of income, one single source of fulfillment. With the internet, online courses, plethora of digital tools, anyone can learn new skills. Anyone can start a side project. Anyone can launch a business that not only adds value to society, to their communities, but to their life, but also positions them for success in a rapidly evolving future. It fucking baffles me that people have not done anything different since COVID. They're still just going back to, as soon as lockdowns finished, they went back to their cute little job, like nothing had ever fucking happened. They complied, they had to do something they didn't want to fucking do. Okay. Because they didn't have a fucking brain to go and actually think about things critically and independently. So many nuances to that. Okay. But embracing the digital age means recognizing that we're not just workers or consumers, but everyone is a potential creator and an innovator. So by stepping beyond the comfort zone of the familiar and exploring the potential of our interconnected world, we actually can create opportunities that enrich our lives to ensure that we are prepared for whatever happens in the future. Okay. What have you done differently since 2020? That question alone should be a big of a fucking wake up call, because if you think something like that won't happen again, you're very fucking naive. Okay. A lot has gone down over the last couple of years. People are starting to wake up. People are starting to speak up. Okay. And in the years ahead, the key to getting ahead is going to hinge on you generating additional income streams, right? This is not just about having extra cash for a bit of cushion, right? This is about creating enough cash, enough wealth, so you gain choices and control over your life. Because more money equates to more choice, more freedom to make decisions that actually are in alignment with you, not just because you need to get paid by someone else. Okay. The stark reality is that the rich tend to get richer while the poor risk falling further behind. And this divide stems from understanding and playing the financial game effectively, right? If we think about the current economic system, middle class is going to be hit the fucking most very, very, very soon. If you're not in the housing market, you're probably going to be priced out. Okay. Wealth accumulation, it isn't just about hard work. It's about smart strategies. It's about investing, leveraging assets, creating sources of passive income. And without engaging in these practices, people risk remaining stagnant or losing ground in an economy that favors those who are financially literate, but also proactive, right? So the difference here lies in education and action. It lies in learning how money works, in understanding investments and taking the calculated risks. That's what it lies on. Okay. Because the truth is, oh, fuck, the truth we all face is that the modern system, the modern education system is designed not to empower wealth, but to foster compliance and conformity. So basically, broken obedience. Okay. I call the system the conditioning factory. And this conditioning factory has been instilling misconceptions and limiting beliefs to us all since forever. Ultimately, it's setting people up for a predetermined path of mediocrity, right? The system programs individuals to aim for safety over ambition. Okay. This then leads to a life trapped in the relentless fucking rat race, paycheck to paycheck, more month at the end of your fucking money. Okay. Money being always a source of stress, right? The promise of security in a corporate job becomes the ceiling of aspiration, right? Anchoring you to a reality where true financial independence is or could be close, but it's still just out of reach for most people. So look, now you're at a crossroads, right? You can continue to be a product of the system. You can continue to adhere to its blueprint for an ordinary life, or you can choose a different path to become a rebel, break free from the constraints, right? The constraints imposed by societal norms, and embrace the principles for actual financial independence. I'm here to guide you through that. Okay. This is actually more than just escaping the rat race, right? It is actually about rewriting the rules of the game to your advantage. It's about playing some of the rules, but then creating some of your own, right? This journey is about claiming true freedom that comes from understanding and leveraging the principles of wealth, right? The notion of, yeah, look, the notion of breaking free from the conventional path that's laid out by society, the notion of achieving true financial freedom, to some people, that's going to be like, it's going to be too fucking good to be true. And I can say that because before my husband met me, the only way he knew of making money was from his job or from his business with painting. He's an artist. Okay. When he saw me making $30,000 trades, $60,000 trades, he could not get his head around it. He's like, what do you mean you can make this in a day? Right? Financial independence sounded too good to be true for him because that was not his reality. So this is where skepticism naturally rises in people, right? Not just from the boldness of the claim of, financial freedom, financial independence, but because humans are inherently hardwired for negativity, right? This psychological trait, we often refer to it's often referred to as negativity bias, means we're more likely to focus on the potential dangers or failures than than on opportunity and success. Okay, it's a survival mechanism that makes us cautious, but it can also hold us back from truly transformative ideas, right? So the skepticism that you might feel hearing about what I'm talking about, okay, about escaping the rat race, about living a life on your terms, right? It isn't just a personal hesitation. It's actually a reflection of a deeper evolutionary instinct to protect oneself from perceived risks. It's fucking normal. Okay. Like the idea of stepping away from the safe route of traditional employment and venturing into the realm of entrepreneurship, investing, financial independence. It challenges deeply ingrained beliefs about security, right? About success. The first thing you have to do, though, is recognize that this bias, you just got to recognize that bias. Okay. That is the first step. And then you need to understand that our brains are designed to react skeptically to such ambitious claims that can actually empower us. Okay. We need to look at it not just through the lens of fear. Okay. We can't just look at that, right? We also need to look at it with a balanced perspective that considers potential growth, that considers the other possibility, right? There's two sides to every fucking piece of bread, right? Two sides to every coin. And yes, it may sound too good to be true, but honestly, history is filled with individuals who have transcended their initial skepticism and achieved incredible fucking things, right? So it's just by acknowledging our predisposition towards negativity, we can then consciously choose to explore new ideas with a really open mind. Okay. With that in mind, I then have a question for you. Do we want a system that perpetuates economic inequality and concentrates wealth in the hands of a few? Or do we want a system that values transparency, accountability, and the well-being of fucking everyone? What do you want? I bet it's the second. Okay. Something you hear all the time, and the Matrix, right? Like lately, I haven't been vibing with the term the Matrix. It's overdone. It's fucking misunderstood. You see it everywhere. Need to escape the Matrix, Matrix this, Matrix that, leave the system. And to be honest, I fucking eye roll when people say that, because saying you want to escape the Matrix, it sounds cool, but misses the entire point. Because in reality, okay, reality, I'm going to say that word one more time, reality. You can't just step out of society's systems and pressures like unplugging from a computer simulation. Okay, these systems are everywhere. They shape everything. Okay. The real deal is not about escaping. It is about learning how to navigate the system in your favor, right? It is understanding the rules of the game and figuring out how to make them work for you. So this means recognizing what you can change and what you need to adapt to, using your knowledge, using your skills to then, I guess, carve out a space where you can be true to yourself while still engaging in the world around you, because that is reality. Okay. It's not about rejecting everything. It is about being strategic. It's about making informed choices. It is about, it's about sometimes playing along, but also being very aware of the big picture. This approach is practical, it is empowering, and it is ultimately more impactful than chasing the impossible dream of total escape. We're not in a fucking computer game. Okay. Maybe we are. Conversation for another day. But the problem with a lot of people that I mentor is they want to get there fast, and it doesn't happen like that. If you're on this journey, I need you to stay patient, because what's the alternative? Right? Time's going to pass regardless. So you may as well be working towards something more meaningful than just letting every day pass by doing the same shit day in, day out and acting powerless, because you're actually not. Okay. And then when shit hits the fan, you'll cry, poor me, to the government. Okay. I've been on this journey for over a decade, since 2011, since 2011, 12. Right? I said to myself when I first started trading at 25 in 2015, I wanted to be financially independent by 35. I achieved it at 33. I haven't had a job since 2020, but up until then, I worked multiple jobs. I traded full time, built 2 businesses. I was busy. Okay. And if you've worked with me before, you'll know that I actually always pull wisdom from The Matrix, the movie. So I will do that again. To me, the financial matrix is eerily similar to Neo's discovery. In several scenes, Morpheus reveals to Neo that the world is not what it seems, and that a matrix controls the masses where they are working, playing, sleeping, whatever it fucking is. Okay. The matrix is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. And in the movie, Neo then asks what truth Morpheus was referring to, and he learns that you are a slave, Neo. Just like everyone else, you were born into bondage. You were born into a prison that you cannot smell, taste, or touch, but it's a prison of your mind, right? And unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. That's what Morpheus said. He then places 2 pills in front of Neo and explains that if Neo takes the blue pill, he will live an illusion and never escape the matrix, right? But if he takes the red pill, he will learn the truth about the matrix and learn how to set himself free. So if you, like Neo, have been searching for answers, the good news is the search is fucking over. Call off search and rescue. SJ's here, okay? The blue pill and the red pill have been placed before you. So do you take the red pill? Do you listen to the rest of this audio and learn how deep the rabbit hole goes? Or do you take the blue pill? Pause this audio, say SJ's lost the fucking plot, maybe chuck this whole audio in the bin and believe the illusion of whatever you want to believe. This is where the Rebel Alliance comes into play. It's time to bring these conversations that I have in my everyday world mainstream, right? This is going to be a place where you'll discover what you've always needed to know, but always found too complex or too unimportant, or it was just never a priority. I'm telling you right now, the world is changing very fucking quickly. It's important. This needs to be urgent, right? We're going to dive deep into the world of central banking, the broader monetary system. We're going to illuminate the hidden truths that have been overlooked for too long. But honestly, it's been hidden in plain sight, right? And we're gonna go there because to grasp our future direction, it's crucial to occasionally look back at the past. If you're a trader, you know that's what we do. We look left, right? This exploration is not only going to reveal how the current financial landscape came to be, but also empower us with the knowledge to navigate it more effectively. We'll discuss everything from bailouts to quantitative easing to breaking down certain policies that ensure the rich stay in charge and the rest of the population fucking work so hard to play catch up. Okay. It's these hidden truths that have allowed the select few to control the money's flow. Okay. We'll dismantle the lies. We'll understand how to create wealth in an ever-changing system, whether it's through unconventional investments, entrepreneurship, alternative paths. Okay. We'll gain a comprehensive overview of wealth in the current system, but also understanding the key dynamics that's I guess shaping the landscape of finance today, tomorrow, in the time to come. We'll talk about and dive into the transformative shifts towards digital assets. Okay, big one, big one, big one, big one. One of the most important things that should be on everyone's mind currently should be like how to invest in different sources of income that doesn't depend on the fucking government. Okay, it doesn't depend on you selling something, on earned income. That's what should be on your mind. Not what course should I bring out, not this, not that. Can we have a bigger conversation than that, please? Okay. Because especially with the current economic crisis around the world, right? Don't get me wrong. Like this is still a very good time to invest in stocks, gold, silver, but understanding digital currencies is important. We'll talk about real estate investing. Okay. I've got the best property coaches that's going to teach you how to do this, right? You will learn why the governments can't default on their debt. You'll understand the mechanisms through which central banks create money and then fuck up economies because of it, right? I'll teach the concept of currency debasement and its effects on personal wealth, how to protect your assets. One other really important thing that we're actually going to talk heavily about, and this will be first, is about the nervous system. One of the main reasons I started coaching people on money was because I was so sick of seeing my trading students make really good fucking money, more money than they had ever made. And yet they wouldn't know what to do with it. They would blow it. They would get funded 6 figures and they'd be reckless with it and they would blow it. Basically become absolute fools with money. Okay. And for a long time, I have spoken about financial thermostat and I could never answer the question of how does one raise it? How does one raise it? And it wasn't until some deep fucking reflective time last year that I learned that this is in fact nervous system work. You cannot create wealth if your nervous system is not on board. So the concept of financial thermostat, if you don't know what this is, it offers a compelling framework for understanding our personal comfort zones regarding wealth and income. And it suggests that just as a thermostat regulates temperature in a room, our subconscious beliefs and experiences set a specific range for our financial achievements. When we earn more than this set range, we may subconsciously sabotage our success and return to what feels comfortable, right? Conversely, if we dip below this range, we're going to work a lot harder, okay, to get back to our comfort zone, to where we feel safe, secure, okay? So the intriguing question that has always come up is, how can one effectively raise this financial thermostat to embrace higher levels of financial success without triggering subconscious sabotage? And the answer, as it turns out, as I've already said, is in the realm of nervous system work, right? Our nervous system is the command center for how we perceive and respond to the world around us, right? It governs our fight, flight, freeze, appease responses, fawn responses. These are not only reactions to physical threats, but also emotional and psychological challenges, especially those related to money. Okay, so when our financial situation begins to exceed our subconscious set point, it triggers a stress response in the nervous system. And it's as if it's unsafe, it's unfamiliar, it is perceived as a threat to our psychological safety. This response can manifest as anxiety or fear or self-sabotaging behaviors, and it effectively pulls us back into our financial comfort zone. So to raise our financial thermostat, we first must learn to regulate our nervous system response to financial stress, to success. Okay, this involves retraining our body and our mind to become comfortable with the higher levels of financial well-being and to view financial growth as normal, as safe, as this positive thing. Okay, this is important because when you do make more money, when you do create wealth, when you do have multiple income streams, you're not going to be a fucking idiot with your money. Okay, so alongside that, we will address critical aspects of the psychological relationships with money, including, detaching self-worth, the receiving wound. Okay, understanding all of this has an impact on your nervous system. We're going to explore the intersection of money and the shadow, right? We'll explore how suppressed emotions and unconscious beliefs influence financial behaviors, your financial decisions. This is just one example of, or a few examples of what you can expect. But overall, guys, the Rebel Alliance extends beyond financial education. It is a foundation for self-mastery and cultivating a resilient mindset to withstand anything that happens in the future, right? It's about equipping you with the tools and the knowledge to navigate the complexities of the modern world, whilst also fostering this inner strength that's going to prepare you for whatever lies ahead. Because there is a financial shitstorm brewing. And if you're not ready, you will be impacted. Okay, so by embracing the principles of the Rebel Alliance, what you're actually doing is you're committing to a journey of personal growth where developing a steadfast mindset is just as crucial as mastering all the financial strategies that exist. So it is this dual focus that, it enables not only the ability to achieve financial freedom, but also the resilience to thrive amidst adversity. To be a rebel is to question, right? It's to take your own path. It's not just about accepting what's handed to you, but finding your own way to make a damn difference, right? Rebels are the ones who see beyond the usual routes. These are the ones that seek authenticity and freedom in their choices. It is about courage. It is about independence. It is about believing that there is more to life than just following the fucking normal route, than following the crowd, right? Being a rebel means owning your decisions. It means taking radical responsibility for your life. Okay, radical accountability for your life, for your actions. And it's about shaping life on your terms. So you need to ask yourself, right? If you continue down the path you're going on, what does that look like 5 years, 10 years from now? Are you happy there? How does it make you feel? If not, then you know exactly what you need to fucking do. Okay, because most people never do anything great because they never craft an identity that favors their success. And instead they stick with the limiting identity that society, that the system gave them. How do you view yourself? Do you talk yourself out of taking risks, for looking for, or going looking for opportunities to learn, to push yourself forward, to get out of your comfort zone? Or do you tell yourself, if only I could do that? I wish I could do that. I can't do this because of, right? Society is conditioning you to play it safe by taking the biggest risk imaginable, and that is living a life that doesn't fucking make you proud. If you want to do something great, you need to wipe the identity that society has given you and build one that gives you an advantage. One that believes that you can actually achieve everything that you set your mind to. Is that going to be easy? No. Okay, but it is one that forces you to pursue mastery, meaning, curiosity, right? It's one that pushes you to voluntarily shoulder responsibility and set new and better and higher standards that demand your all. Because that is what's needed if you want to do anything worth fucking doing. So that is what the Rebel Alliance looks like. In terms of the logistics, let's just start with this. It's fucking affordable, okay? It's affordable. It's $99 a month for 12 months, right? $99 a month until the end of February. Then it will be $149 a month, and the price will gradually increase for those that come in later because of the amount of value and resources available. Do what you want with that information, right? How does it run? There is no mandatory Zoom sessions, okay? Which means it's going to offer the ultimate flexibility for you to engage with the program at your own time and your own convenience. There's going to be a minimum of 2 to 3 podcast style deliveries of education and teaching each month, Q&As each month, community each month, right? Plug and play in your own time, workbooks, resources to explore, Telegram or Discord for community, additional information from me, random live pop-up calls, guest facilitators, guest coaches. Okay, I am very good at what I do. I'm not very good at everything, and that's why I have a very solid network of people who are way better than me that are going to coach you. Okay, so it's your time to make a decision, right? The Rebel Alliance is here and it is empowering you to make a choice, right? The real work is actually the work you do on yourself, right? Your goals, they might be external. In fact, they are external, but the work will always be internal. And to achieve anything, you have to change your identity to align with someone who's able to achieve the things that you say you want, instead of just being someone who just fucking talks a lot. Okay? You're going to have to build better habits. You'll have to make sacrifices. You'll have to get out of your own fucking way. You'll have to stop avoiding the work that's right in front of you, because at the end of the day, this is your choice. Okay? Your choice is this. You can continue living as a product of the system. You can live a life of distraction, cheap fucking dopamine, right? Keep getting paid just enough, but not enough. Or you can become a rebel. You can face challenges on purpose. You can do meaningful work. You can become a forward thinker, an independent thinker, a critical thinker. Honestly, both of these are hard, but one is just more rewarding at the end of the day. So the choice is yours. This chat has been fun for me. I hope it's been fun for you. I hope you've learnt a lot. As I said, went longer than anticipated, but couch sessions with SJ, this is generally how it goes. So you've got a choice to make. You can either click the link that's in this email or in my link tree, wherever you find it, and join the Rebel Alliance, or continue being a product of the system. The choice is yours.